Good evening, everybody. It is Sunday, October 27th, and it is time for another WWE pay-per-view, and therefore we're doing our pay-per-view pre-show here on Mega Powers Radio, where all of our personalities from the station gather together to make a super-powered panel to talk about the upcoming show. So to introduce who we got with us tonight, I'll be your lead host, Mike Payton, lead host of the Raw Post Show, keeping kayfabe and member of various projects here on the station, as well as outside of it. Joining me this evening, great group of fellas. First off, just getting on the line here, Mr. Tony Mango, lead host of Smart Out Moments Smack Talk Show, president of operations at Fanboys Anonymous, and all around busy wrestling man and other things. Tony, what's shaking, dude?
I just got on the line. I'm not crossing the line because the hell with TNA.
Thank goodness there ain't two TNA pay-per-views this week. It's bad enough we got to do two WWE, but if there's two TNAs, I quit. I'm not doing journalism anymore. I'm done.
Me neither. I'll join the brigade.
Also on the line, leader of the Nerd Genius Nation, host of I Got Gameplay here in Mega Powers Radio, Mr. Michael Burhan. What's shaking, Burhan?
Nothing much. I was literally dozing off myself. We've actually had a time change over here. So it's messed everything up, so it's kind of weird.
Like daylight savings time?
Yeah, kind of like that, basically.
You just have that at a random time in October? That's weird.
Yeah, our clocks have gone back, so that basically, usually it's like 11 o'clock now. It's 10. So I was getting confused on the conversation with Tony about.
Just blew my mind. I didn't know we had different daylight savings times. I thought that all happened on the same day.
Nope, different times.
Weird. All right, so on the line here, we got the Bounce House Prince, Mr. Drew White. Drew, what's shaking, dude?
Food is what's shaking, especially chicken noodle soup, and that's about all.
Chicken noodle soup. And, of course, the host of CHMR's Ring Rust and the Friday Morning Mark Out, guy we've had in Keeping Kayfabe a lot lately, joining us for the first time on the pay-per-view pre-show, Mr. Mark Jabroni. What's shaking, Mark?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're all tremendous, except for the fact that I think we have to watch another pay-per-view.
Could be worse.
Yeah, that seems to be the general consensus with everything that's going on tonight. No one's particularly excited. If you have something you would like to say, though, if you're excited, or perhaps if you're in the same boat as us where this pay-per-view has just been too long, call in area code 760-512-7247. That's area code 760-512-7247. With that, guys, why don't we just dig right into the card and start talking about what we got coming up. We just had breaking news, actually. I got the text right on my phone because WWE likes to spam my phone lately. Curtis Axel has become injured, and he will not be able to participate in his scheduled Intercontinental title defense tonight against Big E Langston. A lot of people are upset. Not getting to see the greatness that is Curtis Axel on tonight's pay-per-view certainly diminishes its power. And I guess the whole big fire that's been lighting behind Big E Langston lately might have some people down about it, too. But in its place, we have another kickoff match for tonight's show featuring Kofi Kingston going one-on-one against Damian Sandow. Now, if I recall correctly, wasn't this the same pre-show to Battleground? Was it?
Ziggler, I think.
Oh, and, Ziggler. Okay.
Sandow.
Okay. Well, it's basically the same thing. Oh,
yeah.
Gosh. No, we'll go around with you guys, see if this is a proper fill-in for you, your thoughts about the Curtis Axel injury, not being able to have the scheduled match, and if they're going to be able to recover and still make this a good kickoff show. Mark, why don't you start us off, man?
Well, I'm going to demand my money back for one thing.
Drew, how you feeling, dude?
I don't even know. I'm going to miss Big E, though. The best wrestler in the WWE right now.
He'll be pissed.
Yeah, why couldn't they have had Big E Langston take on Damian Sandow?
Because maybe Curtis Axel's injury came from the big ending. So, you know.
Okay.
It could be because of that. I don't know. I'm just coming up with something.
No, it makes sense. I also think it's just because Big E Langston's on a roll right now, and Damian Sandow could also be looking to get a victory here. You don't want to have those two heads butting when they're both on the rise.
Yeah, true.
What do you think this is, wrestling?
Oh, I don't know. I thought this was sports entertainment.
Tony, how about you, man? How you feeling about our newly scheduled pre-show?
Is this a confirmed, actual injury, or is this just WWE throwing that out there so they can change it and everything?
I have no idea. They didn't say what it was exactly. It just says Curtis Axel injured, match night is canceled, new match is this.
If it's a storyline injury, then that could be pretty good because they can It kind of depends. If they have Big E come out and kind of call him out and be like, oh, you know, you're being a complete wimp, you're trying to get out of the title match and whatever, and then they, you know, do it on Raw or something, that could work. If this is an actual injury, that's a shame.
You know what that means? You know who comes back to Raw tomorrow night?
Who?
Dr. Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's going to be the new Intercontinental Champion.
Yes. Mr. Burhan, your thoughts about our new pre-show match and the demise of the previous one we had?
I was looking forward to actually see Big E. He's becoming a very big favourite of mine as of late, especially after looking at his tweets on Twitter. He's hilarious. In terms of seeing Axel lose the IC title, this could be storyline. I agree with Magno on this one, on a sense that they could be using this just to heavily promote the feud, either on the pay-per-view or basically in passing to another pay-per-view. So we'll see how it works out. Hopefully it may be a positive.
Hopefully. I just hope that this doesn't just end up being something where they had to scramble and we don't get anything exciting out of it, because these kickoff matches, I think they've been doing a pretty good job keeping them entertaining going into the pay-per-view. So hopefully this is not a place where they'll start faltering off with that. But with that, guys, why don't we start digging into the matches that are actually on the pay-per-view? And, you know, I got to think I haven't been truly excited going into this, but now that I'm looking over the card, if I'm just looking at this as names on a card, it doesn't look too bad. Not too shabby. But let's go more in depth, and I guess we'll make a true assertion of that. First thing I'd like to talk about is for the tag team titles, it's tag team turmoil. Not really, but with 3 teams, we got the current tag team champions, Cody Rhodes and Goldust, defending them against both Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, also known as The Shield, and Jimmy and Jey Uso, the Uso brothers. We've seen Goldust and Cody Rhodes get a surprise win over The Shield, getting those titles from them. We thought The Shield was going to be having them for a long time, which they have already, but we thought they might even be having them longer. But nope, they switched them over. We got them on the Rhodes brothers. How long are they going to be staying with the Rhodes brothers? Is this a match we could possibly see them move back to The Shield, or maybe just a surprise move over to the Usos? Why are all these teams involved? I mean, we know the Usos had that number 1 contendership they earned like a month ago, and I think it's great that they still included that into this, like, hey, we haven't forgotten about that. We're going to make sure they get their fair dues. But we'll go around and get your guys' thought about this. Tony, why don't you start us off?
I really like the idea that they put the Usos in here. It shows that they kind of kept continuity, because they did say that they were the number 1 contenders, and then they kind of just like swept that under the rug. So it's a good way to bring them back. I think it's actually going to be one of, if not the best match of the night. Not, you know, specifically because of the Usos. I mean, they're not, you know, the Shawn Michaels of tag teams or anything like that. But I think that they'll be trying to showcase that they have a lot of talent that is being underutilized. And the Shield, they're pretty solid overall. They do pretty decent in pretty much all their matches. Cody Rhodes and Goldust, they've got quite a bit of heat behind them right now. Not negative heat, but a lot of positive heat. So I think these 3 teams really could gel well together, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think Cody Rhodes and Goldust are going to retain, maybe from pinning the Usos. Maybe that'll be a way to keep the Shield looking a little strong, but either way, I think we're going to see a retaining title situation here.
Mr. Drew, I know you're a big Goldust fan, so
yes.
Are you going to be rooting for him to retain here, or are you looking for the Shield to get their rightful titles back?
I think I'm going to go with the Goldust and Cody Rhodes retain. But, you know, this is actually the one match I'm actually looking forward to on this card, mainly because I like Goldust. But, you know, it's just that some of the matches I'm not looking forward to, like the CM Punk Hell in a Cell match that is going to suck most likely, which I honestly wish that this match would have a Hell in a Cell match instead.
I wish this was a ladder match.
You know, I wish it was like something besides just a triple threat thing, but honestly, I remember the Usos and the Shield have had good matches. I mean, the Rhodes and the Shield have had good matches. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and think that this could be best match of the night, like Tony said. And I'm going to hopefully that stays true, because these guys can put on a hell of a match if they get the time.
I absolutely have to agree with you. Tag team wrestling, I don't think, has ever been so solid in a long time as it is right now. I mean, any combination of these 3 teams could put on an excellent 4-star quality matchup at a pay-per-view. So to have all three of them involved, I think it's going to be a fantastic matchup. Go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, but you remember, we were around this time last year, people were complaining about how the tag team division didn't have much steam behind it, mainly because we had the Kofi Kingstons and R-Truths with the tag team titles. So this is So this past year has been a huge step up for the tag team division.
Absolutely, and we're still seeing development of other teams, like the Primetime Players got a little bit of shine a couple months ago, though I guess that 15 minutes is over. The Real Americans are still around. We got Los Matadores. And there's other teams coming around, too. Maybe we'll see a few potential makeshift teams thrown together with guys that aren't doing anything, like Tyson Kidd or Sin Cara. Anyway, Mr. Mark Jabroni, your thoughts about the triple threat tag team matchup for the tag team titles?
I think in regards to who I choose to believe is going to be winning, I think I'm going to follow the Goldie Brick Rhodes.
I like that name. Any particular reason why you think they're the ones that are going to win? I think it's the first time I think the Usos are challenging for the tag titles. And, of course, the Shield were just recently the tag champions, so I don't think it makes, in my mind anyway, much sense to have the Rhodeses lose their titles so soon after winning them. Mm-hmm. Is this their first title defense, or? I believe this is their first title defense, not counting maybe some house shows.
After winning them.
After winning them, yes, correct.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think it's the first time the Usos have challenged. I'm pretty sure they faced the Shield at least once or twice for the titles.
Yeah, they faced them at SummerSlam and on the pre-show.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Burhan, your thoughts about the tag title match?
I'm going to go with the Shield. The reason being, there's always going to be some sort of swerve. And hearing closely that Vince McMahon's going to be coming back, and it's going to be featured quite regularly on Raw tapings, I could see this as something of the franchise faction, so to speak, Triple H's goons and everybody gaining sort of more momentum. We could see this as the start of the Cody versus Goldust feud. That's been said may happen. So we'll see how this goes. Either way, it's interesting, and I really want to see. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing this match more than the majority of matches on this pay-per-view.
All right, with that, guys, we got a caller on the line. Actually, I want to bring on here. Caller from 631. Tell us your name, where you're calling from.
I am James, and I'm calling from New York.
James, what's shaking, man? How you doing tonight?
Good. I'm actually doing really good. How are you doing?
We're all fantastic, man. We're sitting here. We're talking Hell in a Cell. You excited for tonight's pay-per-view?
Yes, I am.
What are you most looking forward to?
Honestly, I'm looking forward towards the main event, the WWE Championship match.
So you have not been burnt out in this feud yet?
What?
You haven't been burnt out in this feud yet?
No.
Wait a minute. John Cena's on the card. That can't possibly be the main event.
Well,
who do you think's going to win the main event?
The main event, depending on which one it...
James there?
I'm thinking maybe John Cena will win the world title and Daniel Bryan will leave as WWE champion.
Okay. How about we were just talking the tag team matchup, the one between the Rhodes brothers, the Shield, and the Usos.
The triple threat tag match?
Mm-hmm. Who you got picked for that one?
I honestly see the Rhodes, the Shield actually leaving as the champions, because I honestly see them regaining the title somehow, whether the rest of the two teams are fighting on each other and the Shield gets an advantage somehow. But I honestly see the Shield leaving as the tag team champions.
Okay. How about the pay-per-view overall, man? You thinking it's going to be a good pay-per-view? Do you think it's going to be better than Battleground?
In my opinion, 50-50. Better, yes, but in what ways do you mean?
Do you think it's just going to be more entertaining? Because a lot of people are horribly...
That really don't interest me on this pay-per-view, but the majority of the matches, to me, actually sound interesting.
All right, James, you got any other thoughts you want to put out there about the pay-per-view tonight?
Yeah, I got a question for whoever wants to answer it, and that is, who do you think will win who do you guys think will win the WWE Championship?
In the main event tonight?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to be talking a lot about that main event championship later on, so I'm actually going to reserve that question until we get to that match. But, James, we appreciate you calling in, man.
Thank you.
Have a good night, James. Woo. All right, guys, so next match I think we should be going into would be the Divas Championship match between AJ Lee and Brie Bella. This is the second time we're seeing Brie Bella challenge for this title. Nothing too much has changed with this feud. AJ Lee's got Tamina at her back. Brie Bella is showing off the fact that she's dating Daniel Bryan, and she was on Total Divas, and she's the new thing coming into town. Who do you guys got picked to come out victorious at the end of this match, Burhan?
For me, it's I'm going to say AJ, and the reason being that they wouldn't have partnered her up with Tamina if they were going to make her lose. With this whole situation, in a sense, I could see these guys having either a no contest or AJ coming out as the winner, and then moving on to them basically having a bigger match at a bigger pay-per-view.
Okay.
A bigger pay-per-view than Hell in a Cell?
There's a ton of them.
Mark, how about you, man? Who you got picked for our Divas match tonight?
Even though that's actually a very valid point that I never even took into consideration when I previewed the pay-per-view on Friday on Ring Rust, I still think that Brie Bella is probably going to come out on top. Although, now that I hear that particular point that Burhan made, I feel it's entirely possible that AJ will win this one, but that they might have Brie Bella win it at the next pay-per-view.
You got to consider if Brie Bella just wins this, or if AJ wins it, who is she going to face afterwards? So you got to think that somehow this combination is going to be continuing for at least another month or two.
Yeah.
Drew, how about you, man? How you feeling about this Divas match?
Oh, man, I'm feeling like I do with every other Divas match. I expect nothing less but a 5-star classic for a Divas match, that is, between these two ladies. And I'm going to go with Brie Bella to come out on top for the reason of, I don't know, because she can.
Tony?
Because she's a total diva.
Yeah,
I'm not too confident in the guess that I'm going to say, because it's a little bit up in the air, but I would have to go with Brie Bella. Maybe the way that they're going to get around the Tamina thing is they're going to use Tamina as kind of like, not a stepping stone. I can't think of really the word that would be, where if AJ loses the title here, she can kind of go nuts, and Tamina can really help with that, and they can kind of stall at Survivor Series and have some kind of a tag team thing, and maybe she gets the belt back at TLC. Would make a little bit of a reign for Brie Bella to throw in the middle there. And one thing that I'm really surprised they haven't incorporated into this feud yet, which if they do think of it, could put some more legs onto this feud, is AJ's previous attachment to Daniel Bryan. So
her previous attachment to half the roster, you mean?
Yeah. But Brie Bella is who I'm going with. I think that we're going to see a title change here.
All right. So with that, we'll move on to the first actual Hell in a Cell matchup that we have for this evening. It is a handicap match. CM Punk going against Ryback and Paul Heyman. Once again, not much has been developing throughout this feud in the last extra few weeks since Battleground. We saw Paul Heyman have this awesome backstage promo this past Monday on Raw where he talked about volcanoes and what have you. That's really the only thing of note, though. Otherwise, the only thing different from last month is that this is in a cell and that Paul Heyman is now going to be locked inside that cell. Possibly, just maybe, we can finally see CM Punk get his hands on Paul Heyman as he's been striving to do. And, of course, the fun fact that everyone always has to point out, yes, it was a year ago that we had Ryback versus CM Punk in a Hell in a Cell for the WWE title. So, yes, a year we've come full circle. CM Punk has turned face. Ryback has turned heel. Paul Heyman has aligned himself with Ryback. And Brad Maddox is the GM of Raw. It all makes sense.
Dear God.
Stars have aligned.
Called it.
Yeah, man. So you just said, yeah, this Brad Maddox guy, he's got potential. He's going to be running this show someday. There you go.
He's the general manager.
Burhan, your thoughts about this handicap Hell in a Cell match?
I could give two craps about Ryback, to tell you the truth. Apparently he's on, from scoops.com, they're saying that he's on very, very thin ice. He no longer cares. He doesn't really give a toss about interviews or anything like that, and he's got a huge load of heat in terms of his standard WWE. So I'm going to sway with that and say that Punk's going to be the winner here. I hopefully would like this to put a close to the whole Punk versus Heyman thing. It's getting old. It's getting stale. The only way they could really save the storyline is by combining it with the current regime storyline they've got going on. I've said this once, I'll say it again. I think in terms of building the Punk versus Heyman feud, Heyman needs to start aligning himself with people who he basically can get some pull from, which would be the Marwan Helmsley faction, and also because of the fact that we no longer have a general manager on Raw at the moment due to Maddox being knocked out by the Big Show. I think Heyman could fill that spot very nicely.
Be a good use of Heyman. I mean, at this point, if they're going to separate him from Ryback and things aren't looking too bright for him and Axel either, why the hell not? I think that would be a good use of him. Tony, what do you think?
Punk has to win here, and this has to be the end of this feud, because to say it's been going on too long is an understatement. This has been such a frustratingly bad feud for, 3 months now, it kind of feels like a year. But Punk has to win here. This has to be the end of the Paul Heyman stuff. He can go do the general manager thing. He can take some time off. Anything really other than feuding with CM Punk would be a step up. And Punk can go do anything else. I would prefer him to actually take time off, if anything. And it's an upgrade. I don't think this will be a good match. I actually think it's going to be one of those matches where if they put this in the middle of the card, it's going to kill all of the momentum, and it's going to be this boring, laboring, slow mess that hurts the whole pay-per-view.
Well, here's the question. If you don't put it in the middle of the card, where do you put it? Because obviously your WWE title is going to be your main event. You got the return of John Cena, which has got to be higher up on there. So where would you put this?
I'd actually put Cena in the middle as a way to, wake up the crowd a little bit.
Is that match in a cell?
No, but just enough, the pop alone, or, the anti-pop, I guess you could kind of say, would be enough to kind of justify that a little bit. Maybe you can throw the other matches, like the tag title match and everything, early on, or I don't know, but I would say give this that spot right before you do some kind of a bathroom break, and then people can, digest that a little bit, and then have that WWE title match where they go, all right, now it's actually going to be something decent. I don't think this is going to be good at all. I think this is going to suck and probably be the worst match of the night.
Woof.
And that's actually counting the Divas match. And Los Matadores.
Mark, how you feel about the handicap Hell in a Cell matchup?
Well, considering the heat that Ryback is apparently getting backstage, I don't really see there really being a possibility of him and Heyman winning this match, and I can see maybe it's even possible they're going to break them up fairly soon. So I'm seeing Punk more than likely going to be coming out on top of this one.
Seems to be a universal thing we're going on here. Drew, what about you, though? Are you of the same school, or are you going to be the one man different?
No, I'm going to be a man of the school, and I'm going to go with Punk on this one. And you know what? I really hope this is the end of this feud, because I've been tired of this feud ever since after SummerSlam. They got one good thing out of this feud, and that was Punk versus Lesnar, but this thing has gone on for too long. And usually the Hell in the Cell is used to end not to end pay-per-views, but to end feuds. But I have a feeling that they're going to keep this going because, WWE logic. And this is going to has something to do with Survivor Series. I bet they're going to be a part of an elimination match of some sorts. I'm tired of Ryback. I'm tired of CM Punk, surprisingly. CM Punk, the only thing he does now when he goes out to cut promos is I'm just going to be angry. I'm CM Punk. I'm going to get a cheap pop from the crowd by saying I'm in this city. And then I'm going to tell everyone I'm going to beat Paul Heyman's face in and tear it off and then kill Ryback in the process. So, yeah, this is going to be the worst match on the card. I can say that with faith. Even the Divas match will be a 5-star classic over this match. So, yes, that's what I think about it.
Wow, I mean, I'm down on this, but I'm not as down as you guys. Like, you're just rubbing it into the dirt. I am very over this feud. CM Punk has been absolutely cold since his return, and you would think him and Heyman, after spending so much time together, would have better chemistry. And there's been great moments throughout segments through this feud. The whole thing where Punk tweaked his knee and then got the attack in, that was cool. Heyman's promo this past Monday night was great. I remember the thing where Paul Heyman came out in the cart and then CM Punk chased him out and the Punk wouldn't work for Paul. That was fun. But the sum of the wholes has not represented what it was in the parts, because this has not been a fun feud to watch overall.
Yeah, like I said, they only got one good thing out of this feud, and then like the Night of Champions match wasn't good, and Battlegrounds wasn't good, and you know it's just died and deflated as time went on, pretty much.
All right, guys, 3 more matches to go down here. We're going to make it a little silly for a moment because we're going to be talking about Los Matadores going against the Real Americans. Los Matadores recently snuck across the WWE border. Did
you do a little hand motion while you did it?
I did, yes, right across my microphone, sneaking across the borders. They have their little midget friend, El Torito, who is a lot of people are looking at as the star of the team, which is not good for you when they're talking about your midget sidekick. I like this team, though. I appreciate a good gimmick. I think a lot of people have grown out of it, and they're just jaded, and they just see it as silly and dumb. I like seeing these guys around the tag division. Are they going to be the saving grace that's going to launch it into the new generation? No, of course not. But they're another fun team to have around, and it's something for the fellas under the mask to do. Also, it's a chance for the Real Americans to get an actual match on the pay-per-view, even though I think they've been on the last couple, haven't they? They found a way to sneak on there. But
ironic.
Yeah.
They're sneaking on,
sneaking onto the pay-per-view. But I think this will actually be a decent match. I'm sure we'll see a swing by Antonio Cesaro. If we're lucky, maybe it'll be on the midget. And,
hopefully. God, that'll save this pay-per-view if they do that.
I'm looking forward to this. Burhan, you looking forward to this?
No. In a sense, I'm not very high on this team. I did try to get into them. It's just one of those things where I just find them pointless and stale. Hopefully, with a good feud, that will change my opinion.
Stale? They're wearing pink.
Yeah. It doesn't help that they face the 3-man band every week as well.
Yeah, they've been around less than a month.
Pink was so 1994.
As I said, things do change. It's like, for instance, if you a huge comparison would be Ryback in general, because the guy was once seen as this big, dominant sort of face monster, and now he can barely get any heat whatsoever. So I'm just saying things do change, and hopefully if they do something more exciting, whatever feuds they go in, I'll probably sit there and go, yeah, they're an awesome team. But at the moment, it just seems like one of those throwback 80s WWE gimmicks that used to play second fiddle to Hulk Hogan.
There's no shame in playing second fiddle to Hulk Hogan. But Mark, how you feel about this tag match?
I think as long as Antonio Cesaro and Jack Swagger are going to be fighting for the rights of every man, then I guess it's going to be an entertaining match. Because they are the Real Americans.
Tony?
I'm about 50-50. This is a bathroom break, so I'm not expecting much out of it. If they end up having a pretty decent match that you would see on Raw, that's about as good as I kind of expect it to be. It could be worse and it could be better, but I don't think that they're going to give them much time. This is just kind of filler. I'm really curious why this is on the card, though, instead of anything with The Miz or Dolph Ziggler or Dean Ambrose or quite a bit of other people.
Dean Ambrose, I don't think has wrestled on a pay-per-view since SummerSlam.
God forbid. I mean, it's not like he's a champion. Oh, wait.
But they do tend to add, like, surprise matches. So.
Yeah, I don't know. They might just throw something out there, but, you know, this is filler, so it'll do its job. It'll be filler. Whether that's going to be before the main event or it's going to be in the middle of the card, or maybe they're going to do what they did last time around where they threw all the filler one match after another, which really hurt Battleground. But whatever it is, Los Matadores have to win here.
Now, Drew, I know you're a fellow fan of Los Matadores.
Yes.
So I want to hear your opinion about this.
Well, I'm the kid who's screams "Olay" during their theme.
Olay!
Comment. It's catchy. It's not like the Yes chant, but I mean, you know, if it catches on, at least it could get the crowd pumped up, maybe. But you know, I think this match, I'm going to agree with Tony and say it's not going to get much time, most likely. But, you know, I feel like it could be good depending on how Swagger and Cesaro are able to take the Los Matadores offense. Because, you know, they're pretty much high flyers, a lot of high-flying things. And, you know, I think it just really depends on how their offense is and how they can mesh together, maybe. But hopefully this could be an above-average 2-minute match, maybe. I don't even know if that's possible. But I'm going to go with Los Matadores up on top, and yeah. Oh, and they also have a pretty decent finisher. I will say that much.
I feel like there's got to be more to it than this. I mean, how rare do you see filler matches get any build whatsoever? And not that there's been this huge, elaborate storyline, but we've been seeing Real Americans getting a lot of matches on Raw, getting cheap victories, as well as Los Matadores. They have had a couple little things like El Torito goring the buttocks of Zeb Coulter.
Oh, yeah.
So,
that's what we like to see on our TV.
I think this will not be the last time we see these two teams meet, and I think it's great that we have more than one tag team matchup on the show.
Get your horn away from my buttocks. I ain't no hombre sexual.
Oh my gosh! You know, I bet these guys somehow end up meeting again in maybe like a Survivor Series match or something. So they're going to be a part of some elimination match. It's going to be the surprise one that they don't announce ahead of time. That's pretty much what's going to happen.
Do you think we'll have like Los Matadores and El Torito against the Real Americans and Zeb Coulter?
You know, that'd be amazing. That'd be
amazing. That would not be amazing.
Hey, are we on?
Yeah, we're on. Way to just butt in. Wait for me to introduce you, buddy.
Way to kill my vibe.
Yeah, right.
Steven.
All right, since he already introduced himself, joining us here on the show, Mr. Steven Wago. What's shaking, Steven?
I'm good. I'm in from work, so I'm still getting my setup here.
All right, well, we'll pass it back to Drew. You got anything else you wanted to say about the Matadors?
No, just be ready to scream Olay with me this Monday or tomorrow.
They
or a couple hours.
They really need to do something about their entrance music.
It just feels like it takes too long for it to get to the part. It just takes too long. I think
it does, and it just I don't like how it's like Savio Vega Caribbean salsa dance music.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really think they should use the same music they had from their promo videos before they even debuted. If not that, then something where the crowd can chant "Olay" as they're coming down to the ring. It's a real missed opportunity.
Yeah, but you could strut to this song.
Yeah, would you be missing an opportunity?
You always have the Mexicools.
They do have that really weird strut that they do.
Doesn't that make it worth a while?
No, not.
It's just like boop 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 doo 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 doo. They're just kind of like, I don't know. They look like they've got Saturday Night Fever in their minds or something.
All right, Steven, you're just joining us in here for Los Matadores versus the Real Americans. We got a couple of matches to do after that, but how you feeling about that matchup?
I had no idea it was on the card.
Okay, well, now that you know. At all?
Well, I think Los Matadores is going to win. I think that's more than obvious. I'd love for Antonio Cesaro to do the big swing on that fucking midget.
Yes!
If that happens, then it makes the event and it's match of the night. But yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this because I want to see what Zeb does with that bullwhip.
Oh, hell yeah. Quick fire for you, Steven. We'll just go down the matches that you missed. Kickoff match, we have Damian Sandow against Kofi Kingston.
I think it's going to be an average, solid match, and I'm hoping Kofi Kingston wins.
Divas Championship, AJ Lee versus Brie Bella.
I hope the ceiling collapses on them.
Wow. That was hateful.
I am very hateful when it comes to the Divas Wrestling. You know this.
WWE Tag Team Championship triple threat match between the Rhodes Brothers, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, and the Usos.
Oh, man, that has the potential to be fucking match of the night. That sounds awesome. I'm genuinely excited for that match. I'm going to take the Shield, and I don't think that the Rhodes Brothers is taking the fall. I think the Usos will take the pinfall, and I think that's why they're there for, to keep the Rhodes strong.
Oh, that's a very good observation you have there.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've been trying to figure out why the Usos are there, other than just to make the match a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, I think it's there.
I
think it's there to take the fall, so the Rhodes Brothers look strong if they take the belts off them.
All right, and lastly, CM Punk versus Ryback and Paul Heyman in a handicap Hell in a Cell match.
This kind of happened once before, didn't it? About a year ago, except Paul Heyman was somewhere else. Based off that, this match is going to be a fucking dud. I hope CM Punk just wins and wins quickly so we can finally do away with this storyline. I like CM Punk. I like Paul Heyman. I don't like the storyline.
I hope Ryback wins where Paul Heyman low blows CM Punk and Ryback rolls him up. That's the way all good matches end.
Shit. I don't want to see Paul Heyman pinning Punk again.
All right, guys, we got 2 matches left, and they are the big title matches. First off, for the World Heavyweight title, we have Alberto Del Rio, man who's been World Heavyweight Champion, seems like this whole entire freaking year, defending it against the returning, way ahead of schedule than anybody expected him to, John Cena. Now, I was lucky enough to be in the building at Royal Rumble 2008 when John Cena made that first big return early from injury, and no one knew he was coming. It was a huge surprise. The whole garden went absolutely nuts. John Cena will never see a pop in Madison Square Garden like that ever again in his career. This time, they chose not to quite handle it so well. Vicky Guerrero comes out and says, "And John Cena!" It didn't really get me excited. But what has got me excited is these promotional videos they've been airing about John Cena working out, trying to get himself rehabbed as quickly as possible so he can get back on the road, seeing the WWE Universe and doing his thing. I don't know where I want to lie with this match. I want John Cena inside to just tear apart Del Rio, FU him, put him in the STF, take that title from him, and just get Del Rio out of that scene for a while. But at the same time, it just doesn't seem like John Cena's place. It seems like John Cena can be doing better things than trying to resuscitate the World Heavyweight title, especially when he's just coming back from injury. And you would think that he's got a bone to pick with either Daniel Bryan or Randy Orton based on the situation that went down on his way out. But, we got time for that, I guess. Steven, why don't you start us off, man? Your thoughts about the returning John Cena to try to attempt to take the title away from Alberto Del Rio.
Well, first, I find it interesting that videos of John Cena working out get you excited, but that's a discussion for another time. As far as this match goes, I'm hoping that John Cena rips this guy limb from limb, and I really want Del Rio just to get buried. I'm fucking sick of the guy. Get him off my TV. I'm hoping Cena comes in there, gives him the 5 moves of doom, and then gives him the FU attitude adjustment and wins the match. As far as why and where I think the storyline's going to go is, one, I think they need to keep John Cena busy whilst they don't take the spotlight off Daniel Bryan more than they already have with this whole Big Show fiasco. Secondly, I'm feeling, because for a while there was talks about title unifications, but it's always come up in conversation and got dropped again. I think they might be finally looking to do that. You'll have John Cena, a champion who lost to Daniel Bryan, the WWE champion. He needs to prove that he can beat Daniel Bryan. He gave him the nod before he went out with his injury. So I think there's a story there to be told, and it'd be a great time to capitalize and unify the belts.
Mr. Drew White, who are you picking for this World Heavyweight title match?
Yeah, see, the thing is, it's always interesting to see Cena in anything besides the WWE Championship picture, especially if it's the World Heavyweight Championship picture. So I think it's a pretty good consensus that Cena will probably end up winning tonight because it's Cena. It's Cena, and I think that's good enough as it is. However, I think now could be a good time for Sandow to cash in Money in the Bank briefcase. And with that, I think he'll end up cashing it in, and hopefully he wins it tonight. And then this could lead to a 3-way triple threat match at Survivor Series where Del Rio wins the title back. Then we can start this process all over again.
All right, guys, countdown is 1 hour and 20 minutes until Hell in a Cell. That would actually be, what would it be, 30, 40, 50 minutes until the kickoff show. If you're going to be taking part in that. We finishing up our talk about the World Heavyweight Championship match. Now we're talking about the WWE title match. Burhan, your pick for the World Heavyweight Championship matchup between Alberto Del Rio and the returning John Cena.
I agree with Drew. I think Del Rio loses it to Cena, and then Cena drops it to Sandow, and then Chase goes again. I think this is an opportune time for Sandow. I believe it would resolve everything if they had him cash in on Cena.
Hey, can I ask a question to everyone? Do you think if Sandow does cash in, they'd have him job out to Cena?
You'd wait for our permission.
Can I have your permission, please?
I don't know. Can you?
Can he?
May he?
Steven,
cough,
go ahead.
cough.
I asked it, but do you guys think that Sandow would drop the belt to come in, cash in Money in the Bank, and then lose?
For a long time, I thought he was destined to be one of the people to cash in and lose. And I would still say he's the first. I know John Cena's done it, but the first rising star who needed that Money in the Bank to elevate them to cash it in and lose.
He could do something for his career. I mean, he could come out bitching about it and actually make some progress. Who knows?
Oh, of course he could. It doesn't mean he won't still find a way. The cream always rises to the top.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there needs to be that odds broken. You know, they had that period for a while where too many people were winning the Royal Rumble match. The Royal Rumble winners were always winning the WWE title at the pay-per-view. So they just had the string of a lot of people losing. And then they started realizing, oh, crap, that percentage dropped to like 60%. We should probably have some of these guys win again. So now you're seeing Royal Rumble winners go on to win the title again. So I think they got to do something similar with the Money in the Bank. They got to start introducing a few more losses in there to bring that fraction percentage, whatever they want to use when they're talking numbers down.
And based on his streak, if you're going to have a guy lose straight after cashing, Sandow would probably be the most fitting guy right now to do it.
That's why I thought Fandango should have won it, but I think Sandow could be another good candidate to do that situation. So, Mr. Mark, who are you picking for the World Heavyweight title match?
I think the writing is pretty clear, pretty clearly written on the wall. John Cena's coming back and he's going to take that title and he's going to, carry it for however long he carries it. Although there has been some speculation, mainly provided by Damien Sandow himself, that he is considering cashing in tonight. And, well, it'd be nice to see him cash in on either of the two gentlemen involved in this match and perhaps win it.
And Mr. Tony Mango, you get to say your Cena win.
Yeah. I've said... We done?
We'll find out in a minute.
We'll find out until I start talking some more. I've long said that I hate Del Rio as champion. I'm totally sick of him in the main event, period, and I want him to take a long time off. 2 years would be great. Whether that's for an injury, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Hopefully, maybe his suspension or something like that. I don't know. But Cena is not the person that I would put the title on. If you were to tell me, all right, you really don't want Del Rio to hold this, who do you want to give it to? It wouldn't be John Cena. But that being said, if John Cena is their plan, and this has something to do with whatever they have planned already for WrestleMania, that is where everything goes a little haywire. I don't want John Cena going into WrestleMania as the World Heavyweight Champion facing either Triple H or virtually anybody if that will grow up the WWE title match, because I want that to be either the last match of the night or the second to last match, and I don't want John Cena to take that spot away with the World Heavyweight title. And I don't want John Cena to win the title here and hold it up until Elimination Chamber, which they've done before, and have some half-assed thing from Elimination Chamber onward.
Jack Swagger.
I don't want any of that kind of crap to happen. If John Cena wins the title here tonight and he's not supposed to go into WrestleMania as the World Heavyweight Champion and they have some kind of intricate good storyline, then I hope Damien Sandow cashes in tonight and we have Damien Sandow against John Cena for the title at Survivor Series. It could be a short feud. It doesn't need to be longer than that. Just to have one more match, and then Sandow can move on to somebody else. Maybe CM Punk. I don't know. But if the alternative is Del Rio keeping the title for the longest fucking time in the world, and it's still going to turn out to something shitty, just give it to John Cena. I would much rather John Cena be the champion and have a bad result than Del Rio retain the title and still have a shit result. So hopefully John Cena takes it away here and that they have some other kind of plan.
Oh, goodness. So I'm just checking out the poll that they have here on WWE.com's official Hell in a Cell page of who the fans think will win the matchup between Del Rio and John Cena. Not surprisingly, John Cena has quite a landslide result. 89% versus Del Rio's 11%.
Well,
I guess that means Cena's winning, right?
Yeah, well, the fans have been conditioned to fucking think Cena's going to win every match anyway.
All right, guys, with that, we're going to be talking about the main event. Inside Hell in a Cell, we have Randy Orton once again going one-on-one with Daniel Bryan for the currently vacant WWE Championship. This time, we have a special guest referee, the greatest of all time, Shawn Michaels. Now, Shawn Michaels is no stranger to controversy while donning a referee's outfit. Just recently on Keeping Kayfabe, we did the match where he was the special guest referee for Bret Hart versus The Undertaker at SummerSlam 1997, which ended with him whacking Undertaker with a chair and then counting the pinfall for him. And that sounds really horrible out of context, but they did it very well if you watched there. It wasn't some crazy overbooked thing like Battleground.
Yeah, you're not wrong about him being controversial as a referee. There was also SmackDown, Triple H versus The Rock, and he super kicked The Rock during the People's Elbow. And then there was Judgment Day 2000, and there was controversy around that.
Yeah, those shorts.
Fucking A.
But yeah, so that can only make me think that we may not see the cleanest of endings in this match. The question is, though, who is going to be the victim in the end of it? Is it going to be Daniel Bryan, a man that Shawn Michaels himself trained to become the greatest that he is today? Or Randy Orton, a man who is Triple H's protege? Triple H, the man that is Shawn Michaels' best friend and longtime road buddy. Certainly got to be a man who's torn inside this matchup. Guys, let's go around and get your thoughts about it. Burhan, why don't you start us off?
Well, this is the thing. As Stephen basically suggested, Shawn has been mirroring a lot of controversy, and he has made decisions that some may entail being best for business at the time. But now he's uber face, I don't think he would want to ruin his reputation by turning heel on Daniel Bryan. That's one of the big things here. If Bryan loses the championship, I don't think it's going to be because of Shawn. I think it's going to be because of something that happened that Shawn's just a part of by accident, so to speak. In terms of the match itself, in my opinion, from my own perspective, I want to see Bryan win. I don't think Orton and Shawn are going to get into anything that Shawn will cost Orton the title. I believe it's going to be a straight-up match, and it's going to be a straight-up win. But I will say if there is another fucking swerve at the end of this, I'm going to kill myself.
Well, if Burhead is not around tomorrow, you could thank Shawn Michaels.
It's just, no, I'm just getting sick and tired of wrestling and swerves. It's like every single main event we've had with Daniel Bryan has had some sort of swerve in it. And it just seems like TNA booking.
To be fair, we had this in the Attitude Era too, so yeah.
Well, we didn't have that
bring
many
back
swerves.
the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era was so great.
We had one in the Attitude Era, if you remember when they did something similar in terms of the Stone Cold versus McMahon storyline, they had a couple of swerves, but they actually added them into certain storylines. They didn't basically go all out and cost someone the title or have them win the title and then strip them the next night or have some guy do a run-in at the same thing. It's like people pay for their money for these pay-per-views to have a conclusive decision. And with the Bryan versus Orton thing, what's made the feud kind of watered down, per se, is because of the fact they've made all these little swerves. It doesn't need to happen. There's easier ways to do it. They could have done a tournament to have two guys in there go for the championships if they wanted to do that, or have Bryan added into it. There was so much they could do. Am I looking forward to this main event? Not much. I'm happy Shawn's in it. It adds a little spice to it. Let's see what happens. You know, this whole pay-per-view, we're going in it underwhelmingly at the moment. It could turn out to be an amazing pay-per-view at the end of the night.
Drew, your thoughts about tonight's main event?
Shoot. It's a main event. I think, this is one of those matches. I'm going to kind of agree with everyone else here who haven't said anything yet, but we will agree. This storyline has been kind of, it's been okay. It hasn't been amazing. it's just the same thing over and over again. And now that the Big Show is the centerpiece of it, it kind of means something. And I'm surprised none of you guys so far. No one said anything about the Big Show possibly having an outcome in this match, because everyone's set in stone that the Big Show is going to be faced. But a part of me thinks that he could be a part of this finish where he's supposed to be this big bad man. Now he could get through anything in security, so he could probably break the Hell in a Cell door, come in and punch Daniel Bryan or Randy Orton, and that could help decide the outcome of the match.
If he hits Sean hard enough, his eyes might go uncrossed.
Yeah,
I could see.
A part of me wants to believe that Shawn Michaels will walk out with the WWE Championship, but that can't happen.
Damn it.
Yeah, exactly. Damn it. I just don't know what I feel about this match, because as much as I'm a fan of both of these guys, I'm just not emotionally, as attached to this match. I don't really. It's not that big of a deal to me, as if it was. As if this match would take place at Night of Champions. If this was the Night of Champions main event, I'd be pumped and ready for it. But this just seems like another WWE Championship match. It feels like filler to me now. So if I had to go with someone to win, Randy Orton, I guess. But I wish Shawn Michaels would win, but that's not going to happen. But so I'm going to go 75% Orton, 25 Daniel Bryan, and 0.01% chance that Shawn Michaels will win.
Right. Steven, take over, dude.
Well, first off, I'd just like to say something about Hell in a Cell in general. At this point, I find the actual concept of it incredibly redundant. It's really, hey, it's a normal match, but there's a cage outside the ring. So, the actual gimmick of this whole match doesn't do anything for me, at least if you're not going to have any colour in it. Personally, I'm still for guys juicing, just not to the level we once had. As far as the actual match goes, I think it's going to be very much what we've already seen before, except you're going to throw in a few weapons in there. And I'm not sure how Shawn Michaels is going to get involved unless someone breaks into the cell. So the best part about this main event, it's got a sense of unpredictability to it, at least for me. That sells me on it a little more as opposed to some of the main events we've had in the past. I'm not going to lie, I've got no idea who's going to win this. My gut feeling says Daniel Bryan, because I think they're setting up something for Shawn Michaels and Triple H. I don't think Shawn is going to turn heel, especially since he's found God. And plus, the one time they have tried to turn him heel against Hulk Hogan, it didn't fucking work. Fans still wanted to cheer him, so it's pretty much pointless at this point of trying to turn him heel. So I'm going to go with Shawn getting involved, stopping some bullshit finish from happening from the establishment, and Daniel Bryan picking up the win.
Mr. Drew White, I already asked you. Mr.
Yes.
Mark Jabroni, your thoughts about tonight's main event. No, I don't want it again. Go away.
Oh, dang it.
Well, I can see Daniel Bryan winning, finally coming out on top of this one. I'm not really sure how much further they can go to make us try to believe that Daniel Bryan is worthy of the main event. I don't know if they actually need to keep pushing for it, or if they can just say, okay, you're the heavyweight champion. Now show us that you deserve it.
And Mr. Tony Mango.
If there's not really too much overbooked in this, and we just kind of have somebody leave with the title, it's going to Randy Orton. But if something weird happens, and that's weirder than just Big Show coming out and causing some kind of a scene, like if anything happens with Shawn Michaels other than he tries to super kick Randy Orton and he ends up super kicking Daniel Bryan or something, then I don't know. I don't think that they're going to have this be some kind of a vacated situation, but maybe they will. Maybe they'll try to just pass that off again for another pay-per-view.
God.
But I really think we're going to see Randy Orton leave with the title, and I don't know where they go from here, because who else is going to end up facing him other than possibly Big Show? They have to figure out a way that they can incorporate Big Show into this, and he should have some kind of an appearance on this pay-per-view, so I would assume he's kind of, I guess, like, forced to interfere in this match. But I don't know if that's going to be to turn heel or to try to win it for Daniel Bryan or just to cause some kind of a scene. Maybe Triple H tries to win it for Randy Orton and Big Show stops that. But I don't think Daniel Bryan's leaving with the title here. And I don't know how they get to that, but I'm going to go with Randy Orton.
And I'm going to share a similar thought. Randy Orton is pretty much the favorite to go out with this. Daniel Bryan has gotten the victory way too often. I like Daniel Bryan, but if they really want to go somewhere with this whole administration storyline, Randy Orton has got to get that title back in his grasp, and the baby faces have to chase him. Daniel Bryan can still do it. I don't think it would hurt to bring someone else into that role. I don't quite know who. I mean, I guess John Cena is the obvious choice eventually. I would like to see a fresh face brought into there. I don't know who it would be, though. I mean, it's too soon for someone like a Big E Langston. A Dolph Ziggler could be good.
Maybe CM Punk.
Maybe CM Punk.
The only issue I had with Dolph Ziggler getting involved again is I've seen Orton versus Ziggler for fucking years now. So,
Yeah, they haven't had it in a while now. It's been a while at least.
They had a match the other week.
Fuck, never mind. Good. Fuck me, yep, you're right. Never mind. Just pretend I didn't say anything.
Yeah, we usually do.
Did somebody say something?
Yeah,
Thank
exactly. So, I don't know. I think Randy Orton's going to win. I don't know what Shawn Michaels' involvement is going to be. You have to believe that he would do something, some kind of shenanigans, but at the same time, you have to think maybe they're just prepping you for that, and then it's just to throw you off, and he ends up just counting a 3, and that's it. He was just a guy in a shirt.
He's Super 6 cameraman, and then we have the same technical difficulties that we had at Battleground. Everything just turns off. They're going to fuck you, we did it twice in a row.
What if we get outside interference from God?
Maybe. I don't know. He didn't really show up in that other match. I can't depend on him.
Or we end up having one of the guys fall on top of Sim Snooker.
Or they could fall on their head on the ground and their leg can lightly tap Sim Snuka.
Ah, yes. And then he'll get the blame and fired again.
All right, guys. So I think with that, we've pretty much gone through the entire card. I'd like to go through and ask you guys what match you're most excited to see tonight, if you plan on watching the pay-per-view, and any other thoughts you might have that you want to put out there. Steven, why don't you start us off? Steven?
Sorry, Mike had an issue then. Okay, as far as the match I want to see the most tonight, definitely the triple threat tag team title match between the Rhodes, the Usos, and Shield. The Shield and the Usos have had some great matches. Also, the Shield and the Rhodes have had great matches, so you add all three in there. I think it's going to be a real fast pace, not too much psychology involved, but it's just going to be it's just going to be a real fun match.
All right, Mr. Mark Jabroni, the match you're most looking forward tonight, and if you plan on watching.
Well, I'm certainly planning on watching. I think probably the WWE title match, or maybe the tag team match, would probably be the one of those two matches is going to be the match I'm looking most forward to. Tag team title match, I should specify, because there's the other tag team match.
Mr. Drew, the match you're most looking forward to, and if you'll be watching tonight.
I will be watching tonight, so I'm kind of pumped about that. The match I'm looking forward to the most will be the triple tag team match. And I still wish this was a Hell in a Cell match, but instead of CM Punk versus Rev. I wish they would just took that match off the card, because I don't want to see that match at all. But, yeah, I'm going to go with the triple tag team match.
Mr. Burhan, match you're most looking forward to tonight.
Mine would be the tag team title match, but I would lie if I said I wasn't interested in actually seeing the WWE Championship match, just for the fact that I get to see Shawn Michaels in the WWE ring again.
And Mr. Tony.
Big E Langston. Oh, shit. No, I got to go with the tag team title match. 100%.
And you'll be watching tonight, I'm assuming? You're going to be doing your usual reporting?
Yep, I'll be covering that on SmartGuyMoment.com for anybody who wants to chat on the side.
All right. And match I'm most looking forward to tonight, I am also going to say the tag title matchup. It's been a while since we've had some really strong tag teams that can go in there and just put on match of the night. I feel like we're back into the days of the Hardys, the Edge and Christian, and the Dudley Boys. Maybe not quite the same type of guys. I'm not saying they're exactly like them, but remember when we had those 3-team dynamics that we had then? I could see something similar developing with these three. So
who takes the stupid bumps up a ladder?
One of the Usos.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins.
The less fat one.
Yeah, it would be one of the Usos and Seth Rollins. Those would be the two guys that take the big bumps. Or, in fact, both of the Usos and Seth Rollins. I don't know why I'm saying one of the Usos.
Yeah, fuck it. Let them all bump.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I think that's going to wrap us up here, unless anyone else has any thoughts they want to throw out there.
No, I don't think so.
All right, guys. That's going to wrap us up. Hope everyone has enjoyed listening to us here on the Mega Powers Radio Hell in a Cell pre-show. We're going to do one final round, get everyone's final words and plugs that they want to put out to the world. Mr. Burham, why don't you start us off?
Nerdjuice.com, fanboysanonymous.com, where I've currently written an article on the IP Expo. It's got a series of interviews that I did there. Also went to the Xbox One tour as part of I Got Gameplay. So I'm going to be posting videos accordingly from tomorrow, and writing another article for Fanboys Anonymous in regards to that as well. And also, I'm going to be writing an article for SmartCountMoment.com as part of my Wrestle Rambling series, talking about the importance and need in the wrestling industry for roles such as heels and faces, and why by making everything clear-cut, you can actually make stories more profound and something more easy to follow too. So check out for those guys. And as always, I Got Gameplay 8 p.m. every Saturday on Mega Powers Radio, Otaku Nation every following Sunday of the month at 8 p.m. On Mega Powers Radio, of course. And thank you guys for keep following us and aiding us in what we're doing.
Mr. Drew White.
Usually I do my Bounce House plug, but I don't want to do that tonight, mainly because I'm tired and I don't. And, I know it's the biggest disappointment in the history of sports entertainment and Bounce Powers Radio and Bounce Houses. But no plugs for me for once. So if that's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Well, if you would like to check out the Drew Family Dynasty, BigBlastRentals.com. I'll do that quickly for you. Mr. Mark Jabroni, your plugs tonight.
Well, all my stuff is on markjabroni.s5.com. You can follow me on Twitter or check out the fan page for my radio show, CHMR's Ring Rust. Also, I've recently been made the admin on 2 other wrestling websites, WWE and TNA News, and TNA Knockouts and WWE Divas.
Woo! Congratulations,
so check those out. Apparently, I'm reliable.
Mr. Steven Juego, your plugs.
Juego. I actually really like that. UD MMA, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on Dream Elite every week. And UDMMA.com to check any of the archived episodes. That's it for me.
Mr. Tony Mango.
All right, guys, as I quickly mentioned before, go to smarkoutmoment.com, my wrestling website. I'll be doing coverage of the pay-per-view, and you can chat alongside in the little sidebar chat thing that we have going on there. For anybody interested in checking out the next episode of Smack Talk, we will be going through our whole review of Hell in the Cell. That should be coming on later on this week on iTunes, YouTube, and Stitcher. You can check out a Bleacher Report article that I'm going to be writing up as soon as the pay-per-view is over with. Hopefully that'll be up pretty soon, maybe an hour afterward or something. FanboysAnonymous.com, OutOnLimbs.com, everything under A Mango Tree. If you do a search for A Mango Tree, I'm sure you'll find it.
All right, guys, keep tuned in to everything we got going on here on Mega Powers Radio, MegaPowersRadio.com, Facebook.com/MegaPowersRadio, YouTube.com/MegaPowersRadio. We got cool stuff going on pretty much every single night of the week. If you're listening in, you're obviously a wrestling fan, so the 2 shows you should most tuning into is every Monday night following the conclusion of Raw. We have the Raw Post Show, where similar personalities, as you heard here, gather together. We talk about our fresh thoughts about what just happened on that night's episode, and also you can call in, join the conversation. Lots of fun always going on Monday nights. And then also on Thursday nights, we have Keeping Kayfabe Live, where we pick a match from the past Who just burped while I was doing my plugs? That is quite rude. How
I blame
rude.
Steven.
Well, Thursday nights we have the Nostalgic Show. We pick a match from the past, we feature it, we go in depth, and we talk about everything involved in it. Lots of fun looking back in the past if you're into the past of wrestling and not so much the present day, as I'm finding myself being more and more each day. And that's pretty much all I'm going to plug for tonight, guys. It's been a fun show. We're just a little bit under an hour until the beginning of Hell in a Cell, half an hour to the pre-show if you're going to be watching that. So I hope everyone tunes into that. And if you do, you enjoy it, because wrestling should be fun. We should enjoy what we're watching, and hopefully WWE does not give us another disappointment as they did with Battleground, and certainly as TNA did with Bound for Glory. Too many pay-per-views this month, but you know what? I think Hell in a Cell has a shot of being the best of the three. So hopefully we can end the month on a good note.
Don't you mean stream per-view?
All right, guys, with that, I'm Mike Payton, for Michael Burhan, for Tony Mango, for Drew White, for Mark Jabroni, and for Steven Huego. This has been the Hell in a Cell pre-show on Mega Powers Radio. Have a wonderful night. Enjoy the show. We'll see you next time here on Mega Powers Radio. Oh, I remember I wanted to use special music because Curtis Axel is not getting the wrestle tonight. So hopefully tomorrow night on Raw he gets checked by everyone's favorite doctor, Dr. Hanukkah. And for him, this one's for you.
Surprise, motherfucker.